Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday Live. So happy to be here and with Brian. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. How are you, Ryder?
Doing great. And we have a special guest joining us in a couple minutes, which we're really excited about. We have grants to talk about today, a couple new ones we haven't talked about before, especially because it's Women's History Month. A couple are for women-owned businesses. So we're going to go through those, meet our special guest in a few minutes, and talk about what happened over the last 4 or 5 days with the SVB and the U.S. banking system. So we'll start there just to give some context and things for businesses to think about, because I know it's affecting a lot of folks. Whether you're aware of it or not, it's relevant for you. But as always, love to hear where you're watching from. Yeah, drop in your city and state, and certainly any funding related questions or any economy related questions because of this news that we're all aware of. So anyway, thanks for everyone who's tuned in early. And Brian, anything to add to our live today that I didn't mention here in the open?
No, I think you got it. We're excited to bring on our guest in a little bit, but this is some really big news. So I think, it is important to just touch on this for a moment, because it doesn't just affect the one bank, but the economy as a whole, especially as business owners.
Absolutely. And we shared a couple videos over the weekend. Shout out to Brian for putting some of those up as well, because this was important news. So if you want to hit the like button so other business owners see this, because this, especially a lot of you that we've heard from, have smaller banks, regional banks, and there was a systemic risk over the weekend before the federal government stepped in on Sunday night and said, we're going to protect Silicon Valley Bank, we're going to protect Signature Bank, and we're going to protect other banks that may face a run on deposits. That's what happened starting Thursday with Silicon Valley Bank. We didn't announce it, but we used Silicon Valley Bank, so we had all hands on deck, more or less, to figure out what was going to happen there. We put up a poll on a couple days ago, asked how many of you have Silicon Valley Bank. 5%. So it's actually higher than I thought. I know a lot of you aren't in the Bay Area, aren't tech-based businesses per se. So 5% of you, out of a couple hundred votes. So more than we expected. But yeah, Brian, any thoughts on what people should be thinking about now, Tuesday, after this news has developed over the past 4 or 5 days?
Goodness. Well, I don't know that I have any special insights here. It's kind of like everyone's just waiting and watching to see what happens. Everything, a lot of stuff has happened already, and it seems like it's all been taken care of. But still, it's like, I think we're all still holding our breath and seeing, well, is there something else that's going to happen here? One thing that I thought was interesting that you mentioned in the press release yesterday was that it was stated that this is not a taxpayer bailout. That this money because they are saying that if you are in if you are a customer of Silicon Valley Bank, your deposits are available to you now. So it's like, okay, well, where did that money come from? Because we thought that there was, it was gone. So they said that this isn't taxpayer money, but this is going to be shareholders who are taking the brunt of this. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, because if there was money, because I'm not sure how that all works. I don't know that maybe we have an answer for that, but that was just interesting to me, because is there money there enough?
Yeah,
shareholders.
Great point, Brian. And it's because a lot of the misconception is, Silicon Valley Bank, they didn't have good risk management practices in the event there was a run on the bank. So basically, they had enough to cover deposits, but because it happened so quickly, they couldn't have enough liquidity. So when $20 billion is withdrawn in a day, that means like, oh man, you have to sell some of your securities, and that takes time, and you have to sell them for a loss based on interest rates. So, but the interesting the interesting thing, Brian, was, back in the financial crisis, 2008, the shareholders were bailed out as well, the equity holders of, I think, Lehman Brothers. But in this case, they've been wiped out completely. So anyone who, all the directors, shareholders of SVB get zero now. The deposit,
Yeah.
the 40,000 plus businesses that had almost $200 billion are protected. So I think it's the important piece.
That's really great to hear because I feel like that's a lesson that I've heard people talk about a lot. I think it's something that it sounds like we learned that lesson that, hey, let's not bail out the people that made these mistakes. It's unfortunate that this happened. It's not, it sucks for them that, this is happening to their bank, but even more so the people that, were not taking on risk, that just had their deposits in the bank. They should not be the ones that are suffering, nor should the taxpayers be suffering. So I thought that was a really interesting and important point that you made, Ryder.
Absolutely. So, by the way, in the description today, we have a list of these 4 grants that I'm going to talk about in a minute. They're all on our app. If you haven't downloaded our app yet, we've got a dozen grants there now. Please go download it. You'll see some of the ones we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and along with Quality Jones, who we're going to bring onto the stream here. So, Quality, thanks so much for joining us today.
I'm so excited to be joining you guys today. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Really awesome, sir.
So, want to give a brief intro here. Really honored to have you join us today. Quality Jones, many of you know her and some of her channels. She's big on TikTok now. She's built a lot of trust among entrepreneurs, small business owners, just like us here at Skip. And you've been doing some amazing work helping people understand grants, find out about grants, get funding tips, business tips, and just a important part of the ecosystem and the mission that we have as well. So it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And before we talk about some of the grants that we can talk through together and share, it'd be nice to have a nice discussion here about, let me just pull, for example, the I Fund Women Botox grant. We'll talk about that it's $25,000, but Quality, would love to hear a little bit about your story, how you started, what you're doing now, helping other entrepreneurs and small business owners.
Oh, yeah. So I own a small business consulting firm right in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 16 years old. I was one of the lucky ones where I figured out that 9 to 5 wasn't for me early on. By the time I was 32, I owned 7 dance studios in 7 different states. And then shortly after that, I hurt my back. And so during that downtime is when I said to myself, listen, I will never allow my income to be dependent on my health again. And at that point, I had spent half of my adult life already being an entrepreneur. People were coming to me, asking me advice on how I became so successful. And so then it just dawned on me, open a consulting firm, right? I was already doing it for free. And now I like to kind of brief it and wrap it up as this. We specialize in helping people who have that side hustle mentality, people who have that side gig, turn that into a business owner mentality. There's a big difference. There's a humongous difference. And right now, I think I heard it here on the Skip YouTube. In December of 2022 alone, over 400,000 people applied for an EIN number. That is proof to show it right now is the time to be a business owner. And going through COVID, I think a lot of people realized that they would rather be their own boss than be at someone's cubicle. And that's why I'm super happy to be here and seeing how far we've come as business owners and how much help is available to us.
100%. And it's great that you're helping make that happen. I think, you hear it all the time. People often don't know where to start. And even if you're 2 years ahead of someone, you have massive amounts of knowledge to tell them about what it's like on day 1 or day 100 or day 1000. So, yeah. So I want to turn to grants and then loop back to some of your history because, everyone tuning in is interested in the grants, and that's one of the big areas that you help people with.
Mhm.
Any grants? I mean, we've got the iFund Women up here. I'm not sure if you've come across this one.
I haven't come across this one yet, but I haven't logged into my Skip app this week yet. That's why.
Well, Brian, you want to briefly, I guess we can run through these quickly, and then Quality, you can share some of the grants that are on your radar as well.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So this is a great one. We always get excited when we have a grant that is multiple grants. That's not just one grant, because they're providing $25,000 grants. So that's a whole lot of money. Some quick math there, Ryder. What is that? It's like probably somewhere like $500,000, something like that. It's quite a bit of money. So so you do need to have a short essay question about your business. And it is only for women, again, for Women's History Month, and they want to see that you're aligned with their values. iFund Women, they partner with different companies, so this time they're partnering with Botox. We've also seen them partner with Johnny Walker, a bunch of other grants as well, or other businesses for these types of grants. But yeah, this one. Go on, Ryder.
Oh, no. Yep. It's a great one. And it's due you have some time to apply for this one. I think, when is it due here?
I think it was April. It was either April 7th right here. I missed what it says.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Quality, when you help folks with grants, would love to hear, your community, your audience. Where do you often see people making mistakes? In the grants and funding process?
I make this as a joke, but I actually be serious when I'm on my lives on TikTok. I get these notifications from TikTok that says that my video has been favored 10,000 times or whatever. This is the biggest mistake. You guys favor it and you don't go back and apply, right? Sometimes life gets busy. You're running a business, right? And this is why I'm so blessed to have a partnership with Skip, because this is what I explain to my clients. If you know you don't have time, right, you need to hire somebody to do it for you, right? And that is what you got. Here's the thing. You guys built a company with the foundation of your company being to help business owners get money, right? Why doesn't that being for us as small business owners that this is the time? This is the time to be a business owner. There's so much funding for us. Yes, COVID had a lot of negative outcomes, right? But one of the things that COVID shifted for us as small business owners is people paid attention to us, right? So all of these grants, all of these loans, these opportunities for us, and I'm so passionate because I've been a business owner for so long, and there's never been anything for us, never. And so that biggest mistake is you guys, you look at these grants, you tune into all of these things, but you do not apply. Your chances of winning a grant or being a grant recipient if you do not apply. But again, if you do not have time to do it, there are great organizations out here and people and companies out here that can do it for you. And that's the biggest one. They never apply. They never put themselves in the position to get it done. And that's why when She Boss Talk was on you guys' channel recently, I really tapped into it because she went in detail about what she was looking for her particular grant. And she kind of called some business owners out there too. Like, you guys got to read it. You got to read the instructions, right? You got to read it. I'll post a video and people will inbox me the same questions that I talked about on the video. You got to read it and you got to apply. Just put yourself out there. Yeah.
Well, since 100%, and since you mentioned She Boss Talk, have you thought about doing grants in a similar vein? Or
I am actually hugely considering this, and I'm April 1st. I'll just say it, April 1st. Yes, sir.
All right. We can partner on some of these as well, which we've been doing a little bit. So they're, collaboration grants and that's a nice brief segue into, we've been giving out grants for 2.5 years since July 2020. And we're doing it again this month, 3 $1,000 grants. And I do see in the comments, by the way, how people can find you. The domain's easy, qualityjones.com, right? We'll paste it below as well. But qualityjones.com. And they can find you on TikTok the same way, right?
Everywhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
so,
Instagram, Quality Jones LLC. Quality Jones LLC. Keep saying
Speaking
it.
of
Keep saying
names, Brian put up a great reel yesterday about the importance of naming your business.
it.
And I think you have some thoughts there as well.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
guys, you have to brand yourself. At the end of the day, I would rather be known for what I do than who I am, right? So if someone brings up Quality Jones, right, I don't even do business cards. Because if you can't remember Quality Jones LLC or qualityjones.com, you're not serious about doing business. Plain and simple, right? I want to be a household name. So when someone thinks of Quality Jones, they're either going to say, oh, that's that lady that helped me with my business. I know who you're talking about, right? I'm being referenced by what I do. So when you guys are thinking about even naming your business, naming your business is very, very huge. If you saw qualityjones.com, you don't know what I do, right? And one thing I've learned in this industry is that's what you want. When it comes to the lenders and these grant people, you want them to have to do some research, wonder what you're doing, right? If you give it all away in that title, a lot of times when you do loan applications online, their systems are already set up to catch things like that. So if you're in a high risk industry and that's in the title of your name, you'll get declined on those applications like that. So just be mindful when you're trying to brand yourself, when you're coming up with the name of your business, please, please, please think about that. Think about it, right? It used to be a great thing. It used to be great that you put the industry in the title of your name. Remember when we had a yellow book? The yellow pages, and that was why you would come up in that listing or in that book.
Absolutely. You wanted to be A.
Yeah, you wanted to be A, right? Well, we don't have that anymore, and those are red flags for lenders. And so again, trying to brand yourself, you want to be known for what you do. I tell my clients, they get on TikTok, they're like asking me questions about their account. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I know you by what you do. And so when they come up on my email or inside of my app, it's titled what they do. And so I know people by what they do. And I think that's an awesome setup, right?
Absolutely. That's a great way, that just emphasizing actions speak louder than words. So prove your value first. And that's for yourself. And Brian, since you talked to a lot of our, client success managers and learned about what they've discovered about naming. Yeah. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned yesterday, and on the reel that we posted across our social medias, there is some basic stuff just of, hey, make sure that what you are going to name yourself is available across different platforms. And that's not just to say, oh, it's available, but like you want it to be consistent. You want it to be, if someone's looking you up, if they're saying Quality Jones, they type that into TikTok, they type that into Google, it's going to come up. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm Quality Jones here, but then on TikTok I'm something else and something else. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's other little tips as well, just things about like your email. Make your email professional. Have that tag at the end of it be your URL, not just a Gmail account. Stuff like that goes a long way to show that you are professional. Like this isn't just for your clients and customers, just like Quality mentioned. This is for lenders. When they see that you have that stuff, you're going to look a lot better than if you don't. I was actually kind of taken aback when they asked me for my social media accounts when I applied for a bank account. I was like, oh, you want to see my Instagram? What's that all about? But they do check that kind of stuff. They want to see how legit is this? Is this something that you're actually invested in? Or is this just kind of, something that you're just testing out?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Brian, because that is the first thing we do when clients enroll with us. We go back and we make sure that the foundation of their business is set up right. And that foundation means your incorporation paperwork, your EIN number paperwork, your business bank account paperwork, to make sure that the address is right, that they're using a professional address, a professional email, even a professional phone. Those small things, if you're still using a cell phone, a personal cell phone as your business number, if you're using a virtual address, making sure that it's the right kind of virtual address, right? An actual brick and mortar building, making sure that your business bank account is an actual brick and mortar bank and not an online bank. things like that. The underwriting department of those lenders and stuff, they do that. They look for that stuff, and they have special systems that do that. And so, yeah, the foundation of your business, setting it up correct, is the most important thing, because if that's not right, you're setting yourself up to get declined for a lot of things.
Yep. And that's kind of a lot of the stuff that we help people with as well.
Yes.
It's not flashy, it's not some secret tips. It's just like, hey, we got to go back and fix some of this stuff if we're looking for funding, if we're looking to get your business on the right track. There's just some basic stuff that you might not think is important, but it really is at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And especially now, and I said this mantra over the weekend too, in the wake of the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, and say, diversify your options. Diversify your funding options. Now maybe your banks, but this is more of like the don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is just true for a lot of things, and it's a good example here as well. And speaking of tips, before we get back to some others, someone mentioned, we get a lot of scammers here on YouTube, as many of you know, and this just came out today. This was huge. I want to emphasize this because it's like, let's spread the word. Americans lost a record $10.3 billion to online scammers last year. Quality, I don't know if it's as bad on TikTok as it is on YouTube, but this is nuts. And we see it all every day. People say someone impersonated Skip. They said, can you give me $1,000 for this and that? Just Venmo it or whatever. They never see the money again. Have you been seeing this?
Absolutely. In so many different forms, but specifically, I actually got off of Instagram for the last year because that kept happening to me. People duplicating my account, saying I was inboxing them or my business was inboxing them, asking them for money. As soon as someone inboxes me on my TikTok, I immediately just send them to my website. I would not ask for a payment in my DMs. Another way that I've seen people get scammed from online is when they're setting up their business. A lot of people are telling them that they have to pay them to get an EIN number. An EIN number, you guys, is free. And there's only one website to do it. It's irs.gov. It costs you nothing whatsoever. But I have a lot of my business owners, when they enroll with us, they're like, well, I paid someone to do it, right? And they just sent it to me, right? That they paid someone to set up. There are certified companies in certain states that now, because that happens so much, you have to go through a certain company to set up your business because that was going on so often. But you guys, please remember, it is absolutely zero cost to do your to do your EIN number on irs.gov, and super easy to do it on your Secretary of State when you're ready to get your business incorporated.
Absolutely. And it's a good reminder to maybe we could do another in-depth video on that, because people, the way people trick and scam is just, for example, DMing and coming up with fake accounts. And but I think a good takeaway is, just like you said, always go to the official website. It'll be a secure website. Don't make any payments via PayPal or other things where you can't verify the authenticity of the person.
Yeah.
So that's the PSA. But maybe back to grants for a second here. Let me pull up, our $1,000 grants this month, and there's a couple others. And I just want to share this. Quality, you were just talking about this, where this is the big shift we made a couple weeks ago, and this is a test account. So you can see I have a lot of things that I haven't applied for. Just like when you favorite Quality Jones's TikToks and you never go back and apply, you can see there's like not applied. So I can always see what do I still need to do? And I can apply for these to take action. So we'll always tell you, look, and if the deadline's coming up, we'll tell you here as well. So this is all on the Skip dashboard. But the other grant, where is it here? I wanted to pull up today is the Papaya grant in honor of International Women's Day. Quality, I think you know about this one, but yeah, any thoughts on this? This is due at the end of the month.
Listen, I love that this is International Women's Month, of course. But there's so much funding for us, not just this month, but every month. So when I see a grant, I get excited about a grant all for two reasons. One, if it's something that continuously come back, such as the Amber Grants for Women.com, right? I love that that's a every month grant. I also like that it's one application and it throws you in there for every grant that they have there. So many grants are out right now, but I love when it's a repetitious grant, and I also love when they're so in detail. And this one is very, very detailed about what those requirements are. Again, y'all read. Read.
Well, so what for this one, because I haven't looked at the details, I think both you and Brian have. What's the application like for this one?
It was really, really simple for me. I like that it gave me a confirmation email, and it keeps you up to date on all of the winners. As you can see, very, very quick. I like when it's a less than 800 word essay, so to speak. They want to know who you are. How does your business affect the community? Any challenges that you may have, right? And if you're a new business owner, or still in what they call the idea phase, they want to know that you're not being naive. What do you foresee as being a challenge that you will face, right? And what you gonna do with that money? Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe this one actually also is asking for a video recording, which we have been seeing more and more of. This is something that we've been helping people with a lot. If you haven't already gotten your video scripting down, you got your lighting set up, you got, however it is that you want to get it down, get that stuff ready, because this isn't going away. More and more grants are always going to be asking for this. So get used to talking on camera if you're looking for grants.
Absolutely. And it's better. I did a TikTok on this. It is so much better when you can record your passion, right? It's harder when you got to type it out, right? So when She Boss Talk had that grant, I was all over. I was so excited. And every business owner should have what I call an elevator pitch, right? You have to have your 60 seconds. If someone asked you what you do, you should know exactly how to pinpoint that. And so with these grants, and they're asking you to verbally do it, like this is where you shine at, right? Even the grant that really stood out to me is the NGLCC, the grant for the LGBTQ plus community that just came out. I love that they asked for both, right? Video, they asked for the details, and they did an awesome job, very detailed about it. But yes, if you don't have an elevator pitch or elevator speech or a 60-second pitch about your business, please start practicing that. Get in front of that camera. I did 78 takes for the She Boss Talk application. Wow. 78. But I got it right. And the funny thing is I actually got it while I was in my car. All the professional takes didn't work. I actually recorded the one that I submitted in my car. Yeah. 78 takes. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great to share with people, because people feel, it's like, oh, if you haven't done it, it seems like it's if I can't do it on the first take or the first couple takes, you get discouraged. But it's like, nope, doesn't matter. Quality, you're on camera right now. Everyone sees, you're great at it, but even you take 78 takes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I should definitely do just a video of just all my bloopers and how many times I go over it. But that's the thing. So here's the thing. She said she cut it off at 100, right? She Boss Talk. She said, and again, you see how I'm referring to her by her business, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's good.
She said, it's going to be, she cut it off at 100. She says, listen, I'm not going to sit here and do, listen to all of these recordings. She said she's cutting it off at 100, because that's what you have to think about. Those people on the committee, those people on the board that's issuing these grants, they're going over all these different applications. And we know from this day and age, you got about 3 seconds to grab someone's attention or not. So this is your time to shine. You have to cut out all the other stuff and go ahead and get to the meat of it. And so that's what I was going for, getting to the meat of it. In all my 78 takes.
Yeah, exactly. It's the practice, and Brian knows that. When Brian's editing, yeah, or yeah, he somehow strings it together, but it takes a
Mhm.
lot of takes.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's a great lesson. And, you know, one of the things too, of just writing out your story and even to get comfortable with what you're putting down, what to cut, but getting a second opinion or a third opinion, because so many times we're stuck in our own heads, and having someone else read it and being like, yeah, this seems like, let's get to the meat, or like pulling out the things that you're not aware of because you've thought about it too much.
I've told that story several times too. I always send it to my father. He is so hard on me. Hard on me. But I need that, right? I need someone that's going to push me out of my comfort zone and not fluff me up about it, right? He's like,
Mhm.
calm down, slow down, do this and do that. But yeah, definitely sending it to somebody always helps.
So speaking of, well, no, I have lots of questions. We'll do a longer one, but what's the most challenging thing that you've had to, you could take in the last couple of years, or since you've been growing your audience? What's the most challenging thing that you've had to overcome?
So, being a small business consultant, and also you've mentioned several times, like people trust me. I have that certain type of personality that draws people in. The hardest challenge for me is cutting my clients off. I always care. You want to see people succeed, so you see things in people that they don't see in themselves, right? And
Mhm.
so the hardest thing for me, and this is something I still struggle with on a regular basis, they're used to me, right? And so when I have these partnerships, it makes it hard for even me to let go, but also for them to let go of me. But we have to remember, if you're not enrolling for your better good, for your business, to get help to grow your business, then you're doing it for the wrong reason, right? Because if anything happens to me, that means you're going to stop working your business today, right? So the hardest thing for me, and I think is also for my clients, is to understand that they signed up for a service, not for me, right? I love that I'm able to motivate people and give them all this information to help them make money, but you guys, you got to be doing this for you, right? I'm not going to be there every single day. So I want you to take that and also apply it to your business also. When you continue to come in contact with so many people in your business every day, we're someone's hero, right? As a business owner, you signed up to put your life on the back burner just for a moment while you come in contact with a new client, right? And so you're making an impact. You're being someone's hero. You're making them feel better. You're making them, come out of their comfort zone. But you got to be able to let that go and get back to the basics, which is you're doing this to be a business owner, and not just any. You want to be above average. You want to be obsessed with what you do, and don't allow that to, stop you or deter you or get you down. Remember what the goal is, which is for you to be successful.
Completely agree with that. And on the note of partnerships too, I think that's a great lesson of just paying it forward. There's
Mm.
sometimes this tendency when you're just starting out to think about things. Basically, the tide will raise all boats. The small business community is small, and so if you're paying it forward, you're going to grow by leaps and bounds, or find people to partner with, to work with. So it'll just accelerate your ability to grow what you're doing, the number of people you're helping, and so that's a huge one. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I did want to share very briefly here, because we had a question for everyone who's tuned in late. Uh, we've got Quality Jones with us today, so you can find her on TikTok, anywhere else, or just go to qualityjones.com. Here's her website. At the bottom, you can link to her. All of our funding opportunities are in the description today. So maybe we can have a challenge for everyone, Quality Jones. Like, we come back in a month and ask people, did you apply? It's Women's History Month. There's a
Oh
lot of
my.
opportunities. We'll call everyone out now. Did you apply for these grants or not? It's one thing to, where are we here? It's one thing to get here and, feel good about this. That's fine. But it's another thing to do the video or write out your mission statement and submit your application. So that's a challenge for all of you. And, we have dozens more on our app, Hello Skip, in the App Store. And I do want to mention this too before we wrap up here. we have a new partnership with Blue Vine and their business checking. The timing couldn't be better because a lot of business owners are thinking about, should I put all my EIDL funding or PPP or whatever funding you may or may not have, should I keep it in one account or not? So if you're looking for a new checking option, the link's in the description. Blue Vine has been a long-time partner with us.
I like Blue Vine.
Yeah,
I dealt with Blue Vine for PPP. Yeah, I like Blue Vine.
You had a good experience with them?
I never have a good experience with people. No, I'm feeling no, because when you know too much and you're behind the scenes, like too much, you're kind of like, man, this process is weird compared to another process or whatever. But no, they were really good to a lot of my clients during that time frame. But SSBCI funding, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that's a good. Maybe we can give a little teaser there on the SSBCI. I mean, yeah. Brian, you updated the post last week. Nearly every state now has been approved for funding. So, it's been a slow process, but it's finally, there's momentum happening, and people can start applying for these low interest loans and things like that.
Oh man, I did my own, and I was so sad that I didn't hire you guys to do it for me. It was very tedious. Yeah, very tedious. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should do an in-depth story just about that. Did you already do one?
Yes.
Yeah, a video about that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm breaking it down because it's so long. So I'm gonna be dropping parts of it. But yes. I'll actually find out about my SSBCI funding by end of business today. So I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe you'll update on your TikTok. So if
I will.
Everyone who's still tuned in, they want to find out, whether Quality Jones made it to the finish line or not, go check her out on TikTok.
Yes.
Any final thoughts that you want to share with the Skip community today?
I have a lot of final thoughts, but I'm going to keep this very, very brief. Okay. Again, we already talked about the foundation of your business, you guys. It doesn't mean that you did it wrong. What it means is we're trying to help you get it right so that you can get approvals, right? Make sure that the foundation of your business is set up correctly. Second, I want you guys, again, stop. It's not a bad thing to need help, right? You're the CEO of your business. And being the CEO, you're supposed to be the face of your business. That's it. So you're supposed to do the networking. You're supposed to do the videos, right? It's okay to ask for help. And so when you come in contact with a small business consulting firm, it may not be me, whoever it may be, that's a huge step, right? Ask for help. Allow Skip to do your grants for you. We don't have time for that. We really don't. And then the third thing I want to say is always remember this. If you treat your business like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. But if you treat your business like a business, it'll pay you like one. And if that doesn't resonate with you, I don't know what else going to resonate with you whatsoever.
Well said. That was like a mic drop right there. Well said, Quality.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, it's so great to have you. And those are some, great nuggets. So I can't wait to build on them next time. I have you back on soon. And, even you can answer some of the live questions in real time as well. Okay. I know you like doing that as well, but that's always fun to, give quick feedback. But it's such a pleasure to have you, and to everyone who tuned in, thanks. And until next time, we'll be back next Tuesday. We're going to have a special guest next Tuesday, by the way. The CEO of a certain bank, one of our partners, is going to give his thoughts on what's been unfolding these past 5 days, and also talk about SBA 7A loans, one of the second largest lenders for 7A loans. We're going to have him on next week. So until then, and on behalf of Quality Jones and Brian, thanks everyone as always for tuning in, and we'll see you.
Bye, Quality people.
Bye.
Thank